All right, let's talk Thanksgiving. It's a holiday that we all think we know so well, right? But what if I told you that the classic story, the one with the pilgrims and the pumpkin pie, isn't quite the whole picture? The real story is actually packed with some pretty big surprises.
So, just take a second. When I say the word Thanksgiving, what's the very first image that pops into your head? Is it a big family meal, a specific food, or maybe just a feeling?
I'm going to go out on a limb and guess it's something like this. A big golden brown turkey, some pilgrims with those tall black hats, and a nice slice of pumpkin pie. And look, that's the classic image for sure, but it's more of a modern invention than a real historical photograph.
So let's start at the very beginning and do a little myth busting, because a lot of what we think we know about that first feast, well, it's just not quite right.
Okay, so let's set the scene. The year is 1621. We're in what's now Plymouth, Massachusetts, and what the history books tell us is that there was a harvest celebration between the English colonists, who we call the Pilgrims, and the native Wampanoag people. This is the event that kicked off the whole idea of Thanksgiving.
So, what was everyone actually eating? Well, you can pretty much forget about a giant turkey being the star of the show. Historical accounts suggest the menu was filled with whatever was around, so things like deer, a ton of seafood, and lots of corn. And pumpkin pie? Absolutely not. I mean, think about it. You can't really bake a pie when you don't have an oven. The things we consider Thanksgiving staples today were just nowhere to be found.
So that begs a pretty big question, right? If that 1621 feast was so different, how in the world did we get from a simple harvest meal to the massive national holiday we celebrate today? Well, that journey took a while. Over 200 years, in fact.
And this timeline really lays it all out. After that first feast in 1621, Thanksgiving was kind of a sporadic regional thing for centuries. The real turning point was 1863. In the middle of the Civil War, President Abraham Lincoln declared it a national holiday, likely to try and bring the country together. After that, our modern traditions really started to click into place. In 1876, football became a Thanksgiving thing. And then in 1924, Macy's had its first parade. And suddenly, we had this whole new kind of Thanksgiving spectacle.
And that brings us to today, where the sheer scale of our holiday rituals is just staggering. Let's dig into some of the numbers behind the modern Thanksgiving, starting, of course, with the food. Get this. Every year on Thanksgiving, Americans eat an estimated 46 million turkeys. Let that sink in for a second. That one bird, which probably wasn't even the main course back in 1621, has become the absolute undeniable symbol of the modern holiday. And in a pretty fun and, let's be honest, kind of strange modern twist, out of those 46 million birds, one very, very lucky turkey gets an official pardon from the president each year. It just goes to show you how central the turkey has become to the whole idea of Thanksgiving. But it's not all about the food. It's also a spectacle. Remember that parade we said started in 1924? Today, over 50 million people tune in to watch it. For so many families, it's just not Thanksgiving morning until the parade is on TV. And of course, the holiday doesn't end when the last dish is cleared, because the very next day is Black Friday, a total retail machine that kicks off the holiday shopping season. It's become a huge, inseparable part of the whole Thanksgiving weekend. Now, just when you think you've got this holiday all mapped out, let me throw you a curveball. The United States isn't the only country in North America that celebrates a day of thanks. Let's take a quick trip up north. That's right! Canada has its own Thanksgiving, but it's got some pretty key differences. They celebrate it earlier, on the second Monday in October, and its origin story has nothing to do with the Pilgrims. It's more of a general holiday about being grateful for the harvest season. It's a really fascinating parallel with its own distinct flavor. So, if there's one thing we've seen, it's that Thanksgiving has never been static. It's been changing and evolving for 400 years, from a humble harvest meal to a national spectacle of parades, football, and shopping. And that leaves us with one last big question. What's next? What will our Thanksgiving traditions look like in another 50 or 100 years? Something to think about. Thanks so much for joining me.